So we've had a great event take place in the last 24 hours with Benjamin Doyle finally giving his valedictory speech in our New Zealand Parliament. No one wanted him in Parliament except the lefty loonies in the Green Party, and so it's a very, very good day indeed that he's finally called it quits, given his final speech, and we can be rid of him. And I'll emphasise him as many times as he dislikes. But before we get into the actual valedictory speech, which I haven't seen myself yet, I do just want to give a quick notice that tomorrow at Aotea Square in Auckland there is a vigil for Charlie Kirk from 7 PM. So if you're in or around Auckland and you're available, do come to that. Because I'll be there. I know several other people that are going to be there. It's very, very important that we pay our respects to a true beacon of conservatism, of free speech, a man who had his life just shamelessly cut short by these very leftists, the like that Benjamin Doyle aligns himself with. So without further ado, we'll get into it. But if I see any of you there, that would be great.
I did not come here on my terms. I was summoned under difficult and unexpected circumstances, but I accepted that call. Today, however, I leave by choice, not because I want to, but because I have chosen to put my child first. If our tamariki are the reason for being here, how could they not be our reason for leaving? Nothing is more important and precious than those we love most. For them we must live and fight and at times choose to leave. This place was not built for people like me, which is precisely the point. It was built on the basis of exclusion and control, on taking, hoarding, and guarding power. The colonizer's tools will never dismantle the colonizer's house. It's taken me 10 months to truly comprehend what that means. And while I do not accept that change is impossible from inside, I have come to learn that it comes with a price of violence and hate towards my people. This is a price I am no longer willing to pay.
Oh my goodness, this is something special. I did not see that coming, if I'm completely honest. And call me naive, but wow. So the reason he's leaving is because it's too high a price to pay because of the violence and the hate that comes with you posting stupid things on social media and people taking issue with them. And see, that's a symptom of not yourself being a degenerate, but rather the right and the system, the colonial system, being designed in such a way that it makes people who want to be degenerates feel like outsiders. Maybe it's the fact that you come to Parliament every other day wearing a keffiyeh, something that just simply isn't compatible with our nation in general, let alone our systems. Maybe it's the fact that you hold Marxist ideology, which is fundamentally incompatible with Western civilization. I don't know. Could it be one of those things? Or maybe it is just the colonizers, because the colonizers have designed their system in such a way that people such as yourself will always feel ostracized. When will it come to the point when you realise it's not the system's fault, it's your fault? There are lots of issues with the system, but it's not what you're pointing out.
And the unbelievable impact that being here can have on a person and those they love. I have seen that play out in violent, toxic, and real-world ways. No person should have to remove their child from school due to threats to their life. No person should have to avoid going to the supermarket or the letterbox because they have been advised that doing so could expose them to violence. No person should have to tell their parents that they can't attend the next family event to ensure their safety and privacy is not compromised. And despite that, I have stayed so true to myself and my community. I returned to Parliament when I was informed it would be unsafe to do so, because sometimes love is hard and means making sacrifices. Sometimes it means putting the kaupapa first, putting the needs of our communities, the planet, the generations that are yet to arrive first.
You're such a saint. Like, for example, the complete lie that you were advised that it was unsafe to return to Parliament. No one was going to rock up to Parliament and attack you. No one was going to do that. They didn't even do it when it was Jacinda. We had a whole, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of people outside of Parliament for weeks on end, and not a single person touched a hair on Jacinda Ardern. I don't think they're going to attack you at Parliament because you made some very, very inappropriate social media posts. It's not our fault that you don't want to be true to yourself and acknowledge that you're a male, that you're a man. And so you can drop the whole I'm being true to myself nonsense as well, because you're not. You're living a lie each and every day. That's why you're dressed up like a clown right now. You're dressed up like you're not sure if you're in the 60s, 70s, or the 1800s. You're not the victim.
I am willing to put my love for these things before my own needs, and even my own safety. But no love is more compelling than that which we hold for our tamariki, and I cannot continue to put this work before the needs of my own child.
You're brainwashing your own child.
And so I leave this place knowing that the fight will continue, as it always has and always will. But that fight is also happening right now outside these walls, on the streets, on the land and on the sea, in our communities, in our hearts and in our minds. Power does not reside here. It is not inherent in this place. We have only allowed that to be so.
Can I just take a moment to say how unhealthy that bloke behind him looks? Look how unhealthy he looks. That's no way to live. As for power not being inherent within this place, he's half correct. He's half correct in the sense that in the true essence of how our system's built, the power is supposed to lie with the people, and then we elect the people within the Parliament to wield that power. Unfortunately, in practice, it's not really much the case, is it? Because it doesn't seem to matter what the average New Zealander wants or needs. We don't seem to get the improvement that we desire, that we deserve. So, as far as I'm concerned, the power, despite the fact it should be lying with the people, is increasingly less so. That's increasingly less so.
Power resides in the human spirit and in our relationships with one another and with this precious earth to which we owe everything. I rejoin that fight now and wish my comrades here my love and solidarity in the fight they continue in this place. This is a hostile and toxic place, especially if you're not a cis, straight, white man with a blue suit and a briefcase. But most of all, it is not fit for purpose. As a nation, we must reckon with this reality. A political system imposed upon this land and its people from a colonial empire which sought to name, claim, and maim is never going to honour te tiriti. It will never recognise the dignity of all life or seek justice for the poor and oppressed. It was built to serve a status quo that protects the powerful at the expense of the people, at the cost of community. This system was built, and so it can be rebuilt. The revolution begins in our hearts and minds, but there it must not remain. It must rise up from the land, from the people, from love and vision and hope for something infinitely better than what we are subjected to now. If not for us, then for our children and those in every generation to come. As long as bombs are dropping in Gaza, in Yemen, in Syria and Qatar, as long as the lungs of the earth are being burnt and felled, as long as our rivers and oceans are being pillaged, polluted and desecrated, as long as the land is being ripped open and exploited for finite resources, as long as the dignity of life is being denigrated and discarded in servitude and civil war, as long as Indigenous rights are being eroded, trans lives are being taken, disabled folks are being degraded, children's voices are being ignored, women's bodies are being controlled, and the rights of people in prison are being stripped.
Ah, you could not be talking more porkies if your life depended on it. Here's the interesting thing. The left do not care about the people in Gaza. They do not care about the people in Yemen or Syria or Lebanon or any of these things. They don't care about disabled people. They don't care about trans people. They don't care about any of these minority groups. The reality is there was an ideological shift in the kind of mid-1900s which said, okay, the way that we're going to win the electorate is not to keep focusing on the liberals, the working class people, and the middle class peoples. We need to start focusing on the minorities. We need to start focusing on those who are repressed. And so this was a interesting blend of pure opportunism with some Marxist ideology in there, which has transformed into a fractured liberal leftist hellscape. That's what it is. Right now you've got the liberal left, which is the Labour, right? And then you've got the new left, the proper left, which is the Greens. The Greens are the full-on Marxist version, and then you've got Labour, who are the liberal version, but they are one and the same. They are shades of the same thing. One's just not willing to admit what they truly believe, and that is to use and manipulate these specific groups of people for power. That is it. The new left, or in this case, the modern left, they're just batshit crazy, and they have no idea how insane they sound. And so they were born of an age, they were born of a generation where they just believe this stuff unironically, not for opportunism or power, but because they've been brainwashed to believe that they care about these people. But they don't. They don't have any real plans. They don't have any real solutions. They just genuinely believe that all white man bad, all colonialist system is bad, but they have no idea how they've reached this conclusion. They have no idea why they believe this way. They have no idea where the ideology which they hold actually stems from. The modern day left doesn't believe most of the stuff that they say, but they know that they have a bad guy in mind and they need to do everything they possibly can to oppose that bad guy. They may not have the same selfish reasons as the liberal left or the illiberal left. It is all about power at the end of the day. At the end of the day, they want to topple the system and replace it with their hypocritical utopia, a utopia which is no true utopia. It's a totalitarian shithole that no one wants to live in. That's why it's free speech for me, but not for thee. That is the left in a nutshell.
This is a place of no peace and no justice. Nobody is free until everybody is free. And this House must recognise that fundamental truth. If it does not, it risks being left behind as community forges ahead in building its own future, one we can be proud to pass on to our mokopuna.
Okay, well, that was the end. Interesting. So, what do you think of all that, everyone? I want to hear your views down on the... Do shut up stuff, no one asked you. What do you all think down below? Because I think I've made my position pretty clear, isn't it? He's playing the victim. He's not the victim. He holds disgusting ideology and I don't know, lives life in a manner that you simply, for the average person, doesn't agree with. And then, yeah, wants to portray that he's being forced out of Parliament because the colonial system's designed that way, that the white man system is this evil thing that's oppressing him. He's leaving Parliament because he's oppressed. He's being forced out, effectively, because he wants to look after his child that he's actively brainwashing with dangerous, evil ideology, which will ultimately lead to this child being extremely disturbed, if not to a point where it mutilates itself. So I'm sorry, Benjamin, you're not the victim here. The victim here is your child. I don't think someone with your... and call me fascist. I don't think someone with your ideology should be allowed kids, okay? I don't think someone who thinks they're a they-them should be allowed to have kids. You're lucky I don't write the laws. Oh wait, you helped write the laws until 5 minutes ago when you ran away because the system's oppressing you. You're done.